Hey everybody, it's Keagan here. I'm back with another video for you guys once again. And today I'm bringing you guys another edition of Keagan's Movie Reviews. And today is going to be a double feature review. And today's films I'm going to be talking about are two film biopics. One of them that was released in 2013 and the other that was released in 2023. So yeah. Anyways, let's talk about them. The first film we're going to be talking about is a biography sports drama film from 2023 called The Iron Claw. This one I saw in theaters last Friday. This film was written and directed by Sean Durkin and was released on December 22nd, 2023. And this film is a film biopic on the lifetimes and tragedy of the Von Erich family, which was a family of wrestlers who were big back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It mainly centers around four of the six brothers, which were Kevin, David, Mike, and Kiri. And there was actually two other brothers. One of them was actually cut from the film. There was Jack Jr., who was the oldest, who tragically passed away at a young age. And then there was the youngest, Chris Von Erich, who was the one that was cut from the film. He was the youngest brother who tragically took his own life back in 1991. It was a bit of a controversial decision to cut Chris from the film, but I could totally understand the reason why they cut him out from the film. Despite his death being one of the tragedies during the time of the Von Erich family, during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And yeah, I can totally understand that. Now, this was a film I was actually looking forward to, despite not being a big sports fan in general and not really a fan of wrestling. And I actually didn't realize that it was based on a true story until while I was away in Florida. And then I looked into the real story long before I went to go see this film in the theaters. And yeah, it's a really sad story, and I knew this was going to be a sad film to sit through. But I gotta be honest with you, I don't usually ever cry watching movies. But this movie left me in tears at the end. Like, god damn, this was a heavy film to watch. But it was a really, really good film. It shows like how a bit of I'm not sure if I would say control freak, but a bit of a somewhat of a demanding father the Fritz von Erich was depicted in the film, who was the one that inspired the brothers to become wrestlers. And it's a really, really sad film, but it was a really, really good film. It has some really good performances. I really like the soundtrack, and I really like the set designs for the film. I know some people found the hairstyles a bit of a turnoff, but it was what their hairstyle was back in the 80s. But I overall really, really enjoyed the film. It was a very sad film, and I honestly cried around the very end of the film. But yeah, it's some heavy stuff. And I must warn anyone, to those who plan to watch the film, that the film does center around suicide in the film, without spoiling it. But if you know the real story, then you probably know. But just a little heads up for anyone who plans to check out the film, that if you are sensitive to the subject of suicide, then you might want to skip this one, or maybe just watch it at your own risk. Just a little heads up. But yeah. But overall, it was a really, really good movie that I highly recommend. I'm probably not going to ever watch it again due to the film's subject matter, but it's one that I'll never forget. And this is definitely going to be on my list of my 10 favorite films of 2023. And Zac Efron does an excellent job in this film. This is probably his best performance to this day, I'd say. Probably the best performance in his career, in my opinion. But overall, I highly recommend it. It's a really sad film, but it's one that's well worth the watch. But all in all, it was a really great film that I highly recommend. And I'm giving The Iron Claw an 8.9 out of 10. And the second and final film we're going to be talking about in this video is a film that I watched the other day on Friday. And it's another film biopic. And this time, it's the 2013 Best Picture winning film, 12 Years a Slave, which is based on the book by Solomon Northup, and it was also based on the true story of his experience of being a slave from 1841 to 1853. And this film was directed by Steve McQueen, not the actor, but the director, of course, who also directed Shame from 2011, Hunger from 2008, and Widows from 2018, which I believe was his last film he's made at the time of this video being recorded, but I'm not sure. And this film was originally released on November 8th, 2013, and like I mentioned before, this was the Best Picture winning film of the 2014 Oscars, and in my opinion, this film deserved the Best Picture award, well, in my opinion at least. Sure, 2013 was an amazing year for films. There were countless great films that were released that year, like American Hustle, Dallas Buyers Club, Blue is the Warmest Color, and many other films. But I think this film deserved winning Best Picture, but we'll get to more on that in a little bit. So, yeah, let's take a dive into the story of the film, shall we? So the film begins in New York in 1841, and it follows Solomon Northup, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I'm not sure. But anyways, the film begins in 1841, and it follows Solomon Northup, who is a man with his family. He's got a wife, a daughter, and a son. And one day he meets up with two men who seem to be promising. They promise him he'll get rich if he takes part of a band because Solomon is a violin player. And the men convince him into joining into joining a band that he would get rich, making money off if he performs with them. Unfortunately, these two men were bullshitting him, and they screwed him over and they sold him into slavery. And then eventually Solomon gets sold to a slave owner in a plantation in antebellum Louisiana. And over the course of 12 years between 1841 to 1853, Solomon endures the pain and suffering that people who were sold into slavery endured, from whippings to beatings to sexual assaults, and even in a lot of cases death. Solomon Northcamp experiences almost all of that except for death during those 12 long years while being separated from his family, who have no idea what happened to him. And the slave owner in this movie, who I forgot what the character's name is, but he was played by Michael Fassbender, who delivers an excellent performance of a cruel, vile man. And during the 12th year of Solomon being in slavery, he meets a Canadian abolitionist, I think that's how you pronounce it, who is played by Brad Pitt, who tries to get Solomon freed from slavery and reunited with his family. And without giving away too much, that's basically the story of the film in a nutshell. Well, given the film's subject matter, you can expect this film to not be an easy film to watch, and believe me, it wasn't an easy film to watch. But it was a film that is really well worth the watch, but it's a hard one to watch. The set designs and production value is pretty top-notch, and it looks pretty top-notch for the film's time period that it takes place at in the 1800s. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the estate, well, the plantation house that they filmed on, I believe was actually the real house that was there back in those days, if I'm not mistaken. And the performances is really well done. Both Michael Fassbender and Chiwetel Ejiofor, or however you pronounce his name, he was really good in it too. And Lupita Nyong'o was also really good in the film. And if I remember correctly, I believe she won the Best Supporting Actress award, if I remember correctly, or was nominated at least. I can't remember. But yeah, she was really good in that film too. And the music is really well done too. And it's just, all in all, it's an excellent film that I highly recommend. But it's not an easy film to watch, but I believe it's an important film to watch. And much like The Iron Claw, this is probably not a film I'll ever watch again anytime soon due to the film's heavy subject matter. But it's one that I don't regret watching, and one that I highly recommend watching. Hell, I think they should show this movie in history classes in high school and university to give people an understanding of what slavery was like back in those days. But it's not an easy film to watch, but it's a film that you won't regret watching once you watch it, and it'll probably stick with you once the credits start rolling at the end. But all in all, 12 Years a Slave is a brilliant but hard to watch film that definitely deserved winning Best Picture at the 2014 Oscars. And all in all, a really great film. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. Not an easy film to watch again, but it's really well worth the watch. And I'm giving 12 Years a Slave a 9 out of 10. So there you go, guys. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment below, subscribe, turn on notifications, etc. You get the rest. And stay tuned for more movie reviews. More movie reviews will be coming out soon. But anyways, until next time, this is Keagan Shepard signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. And I will see you guys in the next one. And yeah, take care, everybody. Peace out. Bye-bye.